Standing for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Built upon the shoulders of the Constitution, rule of law, and the animating principle that we are all created equal. I need to hear a hallelujah, though I'm not considered a believer by some. I still believe in the warmth of heaven come. I need the rapture I feel when my feet touch the green, green grass of home. Then I know I have reached the valley of kingdom come. And when I reach that valley, I need to see you there, because we don't need a kingdom, we only need free air. We don't seek a king, we seek the brotherhood of man. And we won't fight for bondage, as we need no king or woman. We will stand undivided, because we will raise the fallen. Now I need to hear a hallelujah as we tear down the wall there. The divide between heaven and earth, as tears turn to mirth, as we walk through the valley of death, and I draw my last breath. I know rapture I feel when I touch the green, green grass of home. Then I know I've reached the hollow where my ancestors roam.
Let me take you into a room. It's not the Senate floor. There are no cameras lined up, no marble, no history carved over the door. It's a meeting room on the third floor of the Hardin County Government Center. Fluorescent lights, folding-ish chairs, a row of tables up front that meets on the second and fourth Tuesday of the month, afternoon and evening, and most months the gallery is mostly empty. Maybe a reporter, maybe a handful of neighbors with a specific gripe. And in that ordinary room, 9 people decide an enormous amount of what actually touches your life, your county budget, your roads, your local ordinances, where the money goes and where it doesn't. For our 4 episodes, we've been up in the high country of this fight. A president posting that veterans should be put to death, federal judges and grand juries, 3,000 agents in American City and 2 citizens dead. Big, loud, frightening stuff. And I brought you all that way to land you here in this quiet, unglamorous room, because here's the truth I want to leave you with. For most people, most of the time, democracy isn't decided on a Senate floor. It's decided in a room like this one. And whether it works comes down to the same question that this whole series has been asking, just smaller and closer to home. When the easy thing is to go along, is anybody willing to sit apart? This is the finale. This is where it comes home.
Standing for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
This is the Hillbilly Think Tank. I am Spencer Keck, and I am running for magistrate here in Hardin County's District 3. Welcome. I am the educated hillbilly. No, that's not an oxymoron. Don't call me a moron. There have been educated, erudite, and emancipated hillbillies here in Kentucky ever since my kith and kin came through the Cumberland Gap with Daniel Boone and the Long Hunters. So, they came through that Cumberland Gap on their quest to find life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness right here. And this is the last episode of our series, The Necessity of Dissent. Yeah, and I'm Spencer Keck, retired Navy doc, combat veteran, and I'm running to be your magistrate on the Hardin County Fiscal Court, District 3. Let me pull the whole series together in about 30 seconds because it's been a journey. Episode 1, we built a definition. Dissent is loyal disagreement, sitting apart from those you're a part of without walking away. And we built a 7-part series to tell the real thing from the noise. Episode 2, we watched power try to crush that dissent with the word traitor. And worse, episode 3, we watched the system hold, barely, and only because real people made it. Episode 4, we watched it get hardest out in the streets. That's where it was hit hard and where the line between protest and a crime has to be drawn with a steady hand. And through all of it, one lesson kept surfacing. The Constitution is just paper. It holds when people hold it. So today the question is simply, who holds it here in Hardin County in that fluorescent lit room? The answer, it turns out, is you, and maybe me if you'll have me. The room is the point. Here's something I learned making this series that genuinely changed how I see the job that I'm running for. Way back in episode 1, the framework I leaned on came out of work on moral education, on how you teach people to disagree well. And the model example those scholars kept coming back to was a kind of small democratic assembly where people have to actually disagree their way towards a decision and still belong to each other when the vote's over. I read that and I thought, that's not a classroom exercise. That's a fiscal court. That's a city council. That's a school board. That's exactly the room I just walked you into. Which means good local government is not the absence of disagreement. Let me say that again because I think we've got it backwards in this country. A county commission where everyone always agrees, where every vote is 9-0, and nobody ever asks an uncomfortable question, that is not a sign of health. That's a sign that nobody's reading the fine print. Good local government is disagreement done right, in the open, on the record, in good faith, by people who still shake hands afterward. That is good government. Now, let me be straight about it. Let me be straight about the structure because it matters. The Hardin County Fiscal Court is the governing body of the county. It's the county judge executive plus 8 magistrates, 9 voting members. The county attorney and the county clerk sit with them but don't vote. Magistrates are elected by district, which is why I'm running in District 3, specifically to be your voice in that room. You need a voice. And the whole body to get there sets the budget, passes ordinances, and runs the county's business. So, let me tell you who District 3 actually is, because it's not one kind of place. It's 7 precincts. It's the historic blocks of E-Town East and the front porches of the Highlands. It's City Park. It runs out Bardstown Road along Lincoln Trail, north and south. It crosses Tunnel Hill, and it goes all the way up to the farms and the country roads of Colesburg near the county line. Youngers Creek. 7 precincts, 1 community, a retiree near Public Square, a young family off Bardstown Road, and a farmer outside Colesburg. All of them counting on the same single magistrate. That's who I'm asking to serve. 9 votes. So a magistrate is 1 voice in 9. 1 voice in 9. This is my whole pitch. And I want to take that fact head on because somebody's going to say it. What good is 1 out of 9? You can't pass anything alone. You can't block anything alone. So why does it matter who holds that 1 seat? It matters completely. And the 7-part test from episode 1 is exactly why. Because think about what a single member of a 9-person body can actually do. You can't outvote anybody by yourself. You can't force a thing. The only real tools you have are the last 2 criteria on our list. And they happen to be the 2 most powerful ones in the whole framework: publicity and persuasion. Let me run our test one last time, but this time as a job description for the seat I'm asking you to give me. 1, belong. Criterion 1 was enfranchisement. Real dissent comes from inside, from someone who's a member with skin in the game. I'm not running to lob rocks from outside. I'm running to represent District 3 from inside that body as one of you. 2, know the story. Criterion 2 is you can't reform what you don't understand. So I will read the budget, the whole thing. I'll know the history of a line item before I ever vote on it. There's no version of holding government accountable that skips the homework, and I won't. 3, stand up for who's overlooked. Criterion 3 was about checking entrenched power on behalf of the people it forgets. On a county bench, that means being willing to be the one who says, wait, who does this actually serve? And who's paying for it? And who isn't in this room tonight? 4, keep it ethical, not disagreement for sport, not obstruction to make a name. Dissent in good faith, aimed at what is right. 5, bring a better idea. Criterion 5, never just no. Anyone can vote no. The magistrate who matters says no, and here's a better way, and puts it on the table. 6, say it out loud. This is the big one, and it's my core promise. Criterion 6, in a public meeting, silence reads as a yes. So when something doesn't add up, you will not get silence from me in the parking lot afterward. You'll get the question in the room, on the record, where it counts, and where you can hold me to it. And 7, persuade. Criterion 7, not a show, not grandstanding for a clip. The actual job of the one dissenting voice is to be prepared, so fair, and so clear that you can move the other 8 people and the public watching. Conversion, not noise. That's it. That's the entire job, and it's the entire series fused into one seat. I am not running to be the 9th. Yes, I'm running to be the voice that asks the question everybody's thinking and nobody is saying out loud on the record every time it needs asking. All right, so here's why that one voice matters more than people realize. And it's the hardest lesson from the last 2 episodes. Up at the national level, when power overreached, sometimes there was a federal judge down the hall to stop it. Remember episode 3, a judge shielded Senator Kelly. But remember episode 4, too, that same kind of shield got switched off for ordinary people in a week. And here's the thing about that fluorescent lit courtroom. There is no judge in it. When a county government overreaches or goes quiet or rubber stamps something it shouldn't, no federal court is sitting in the gallery waiting to save you. At the local level, we are the check. The check is the open meeting. The check is Kentucky's open records and open meeting laws that guarantee your right to be in that room and to see those documents. And the check is whether there's a magistrate on that bench who actually uses those tools, who shows up, reads the records, and asks the question on the record. There's no one else coming. At this level, the system holding is a neighbor in a chair refusing just to go along. And I'm not speaking in hypotheticals. Let me read you something straight out of our own fiscal court's public record. May 12th, 2026. They're talking about the Blue Oval Project and about putting firefighters in a building out there and how the county is going to pay for it. And District 5 Magistrate Aaron Pennington asked the question every taxpayer in this county would want asked. He says, we have asked, I have asked, how are we going to pay for it? How many firefighters are you anticipating putting down in this building in Blue Oval? How many? How much? Now, he was addressing the judge executive. That is the head of the fiscal court. And here's what the judge executive says back on the record in a public meeting. He says, and we'll come back to that once I check on your comments. All right, we got Tom saying, one voice dissenting gives any person on the fence permission to join the dissent. Absolutely, absolutely. So we're going to come back to what did the judge say right after a brief little hiatus here with some dogs having a little bit of fun in the yard. We'll be right back. All right, y'all. So here's what the judge executive said after he was asked, how many firefighters are you anticipating putting in this building in Blue Oval? How many? How much? And here's what the judge executive says back on the record in a public meeting. He says, we can talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it today because I don't want all of it in front of me. I don't want all of it in front of me. Sit with that. A magistrate, one of the people you elected, is asking in public what a project is going to cost the people of this county and how many firefighters and how the bill gets paid. And the answer is not today. Magistrate Pennington doesn't let it go. He says, why not? That's the problem. We've never had any information for what it looks like in the big picture. How much does it cost? Now, y'all, I'm not here to call anybody a villain, and I'm not telling you how to feel about any one project. But that exchange right there in our own public record is this entire series in a nutshell. A deliberative body, your representatives asking a plain question about your money. And being told the information they need to do their jobs just isn't going to be put in front of them, that's not a partisan complaint. That's a transparency problem. And it's exactly the kind of thing a magistrate's job is to refuse to let slide. That's why I keep saying it. The check is a magistrate who asks the question before the vote and won't take, not today, for an answer when it's the public's money and the public's safety on the line. That's not a small job. That's the whole ball game, closer to your house than any of it. Home, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness is our closing argument. So let me make my closing argument, and let me make it the way this whole series has been built, on 3 words: life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. Liberty. Everything we've talked about, the senator's voice, the observer's camera, the whistle in the toy store, it's all the same liberty that lets you stand up in that county meeting and tell your government it's wrong. I will defend that right fiercely and ferociously, including the right of the person who shows up to tell me I'm wrong. Now, we know that there are plenty of times people have stood up, told that their leaders that they're wrong, and they've been shut down. But you know what? It is time for democracy to stand up for dissent. All right, so we talked about liberty. Now, life. I spent a career as a hospital corpsman with Marines and Navy folks and with people's lives in my hand. You know, I took care of folks in the battlefield, in countries I never want to see again. I took care of them on ships. I took care of them in clinics and in hospitals. I know what it means to have someone's life in your hands. The county's least glamorous work, roads, water, emergency services, public safety, that work is about keeping people alive and whole. The first duty of any government, from the Declaration on down, is to secure life. I will treat that as the sacred trust it is. And the pursuit of happiness, that one's the deepest. It's self-government itself. The radical idea that ordinary neighbors get to steer their own community and their own lives. You can't pursue much of anything if you're afraid to speak, or the people running your country would rather you didn't ask. A free people pursuing a good life needs a government that can be questioned and that answers. I want to end where we started, episode 1. I told you about a child on a curb watching an emperor parade by with no clothes on, while a whole crowd of grown adults agreed to pretend they saw a beautiful suit. And I told you that child, not powerful, not important, just honest, was the most loyal person in the whole story. The only one who actually wanted the emperor and the city to be okay. Hardin County deserves people willing to be the kid on the curb, not cynics, not bomb throwers, just neighbors honest enough and prepared enough to say the true thing out loud in the room where it matters, and loyal enough to stick around and help fix it. I raised my right hand and swore to support and defend the Constitution. I went to war for it. I came home and that oath didn't expire. It just changed uniforms. Running for magistrate is that same oath in a smaller room. Support and defend. Tell the truth. Listen to criticism. Never treat a hard question as an act of disloyalty, and never, ever just go along. That's the job. That's the whole series. And on November 3rd, 2026, that's what's actually on the ballot in District 3. Thank you for taking this whole journey with me, from death penalty post, through a courtroom, into the streets, all the way home to a quiet room on the 3rd floor of the Government Center. The oath doesn't expire. The system holds when we hold it. And nobody is too important to be asked a question, and nobody is too small to ask it. I'm Spencer Keck, the educated hillbilly, and this has been the Necessity of Dissent on the Hillbilly Think Tank. Come to a fiscal court meeting. Bring your hardest question. Whether I earn your vote or not, I'll answer it. I'll see you there. And keep thinking deeply. And remember, in Kentucky, united we stand, divided we fall. It isn't just words on a flag. It's the glue that holds us together. Because if we love our neighbors as ourselves and recognize that, yes, we are our brother's keeper and our sister's keeper, then we cannot be divided. And we will not fall. Remember, everyone deployed overseas, and bless your corazón. That is Spanish for heart. Have a great rest of this weekend, what's left of it.
standing for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Built upon the shoulders of the Constitution, rule of law, and the animating principle that we are all created equal. I need to hear a hallelujah, though I'm not considered a believer by some. I still believe in the warmth of heaven come. I need the rapture I feel when my feet touch the green, green grass of home. Then I know I have reached the valley of kingdom come. And when I reach that valley, I need to see you there, because we don't need a kingdom, we only need free air. We don't seek a king, we seek the brotherhood of man. And we won't fight for bondage, as we need no king or woman. We will stand undivided, because we will raise the fallen. Now I need to hear a hallelujah as we tear down the wall there. Oh. The divide between heaven and earth, as tears turn to mirth, as we walk through the valley of death, and I draw my last breath. I know rapture I feel when I touch the green, green grass of home. Then I know I've reached the hollow where my ancestors roam.